What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Limited Resources. This is episode number 727. My name is Marshall. I'm one of your Limited Resources, and joining me on the line, all the way from Denver, Colorado, it's Luis Scott-Vargas. Luis, how's the drafting been going?
Oh, it's been going well. I have been enjoying this format a good amount, and it feels like the format's a little polarized, as in there's like three different things. So I guess that's not quite two poles, but three of Jeskai aggro, the various three different color pairs, red-green dinos, and then black descend, which isn't like the most breadth we've ever seen in a format, but it's a fun format, and I enjoy doing all those things. So.
Yeah, I've had a fine time with it as well. I still feel like there's a little room to explore as well. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Before we do anything, we're going to be doing our draft walkthrough episode this time. So this is where we will do two drafts. It's kind of like a super extended Crack-A-Pack. The reason that we started doing these, there was two reasons. One of them is that the Crack-A-Pack's really good for getting a little discussion going and getting you an idea of where our head is at in a pack one, pick one scenario. But as you may know, that breaks down very quickly as context becomes more important. As you know, pack two, pick one, or pack one, pick five, or something are much, much different than the blank slate that pack one, pick one is. And so we wanted to be able to go a little deeper. And we said, well, why don't we just do an entire draft and talk about it? The other reason we do it, it's fun. We like it. It's just one of the episodes that we look forward to each time. So we're going to be doing that on the show this week. Before we get into it, I want to thank everybody who supports us on Patreon. It's patreon.com/limited resources. And it's a place where you can go to support your favorite content creators, podcasts, YouTubers, musicians, artists, can make a Patreon, and you can support them directly. It's kind of a nice way as a content creator to offset some of the sponsorship responsibilities that you may feel in order to keep doing the content that you make. And we really appreciate each and every person who supports us over there. If you do decide to support us on Patreon, you get a thank you card and a sticker in the mail, no matter what level you're at. And you, of course, at any point can come, go. There's no like commitment stuff, right? That's the stuff that makes these type of transactions awkward or have a lot of difficulty because, I can't, and I'm committed and all this stuff. No, you can just quit anytime you want, come back anytime you want. You can change the amount anytime you want. You can go up if you had a great year, down if you didn't. You can do anything. It's all completely up to you over on Patreon. It's one of the reasons why we love them. So again, thank you to everybody.
It's like me drafting Cube. I could stop anytime I want,
You've been practicing this speech in the mirror. I can stop. I don't have to keep doing this. Of course, we also want to thank Ultimate Guard. They are the best manufacturer of Magic-related accessories, including sleeves, deck boxes, big deck boxes to organize your collection, small ones to carry your decks with you, or even medium if you're the type of person that likes to take, 5 commander decks with you. They have you covered as well as backpacks and other things. They're the best in the business, period. Their stuff is absolute top quality. If you've ever held it in your hand, you know that. If you've ever used their sleeves, you know that. Luis and I are particularly fond of their katana sleeves as a great balance between durability, but also feel. All of their stuff, though, it's the type of product that when you get it in your hand, you go, somebody thought about everything with this. This was not a one-off. This was not like, we'll just, pick a couple colors off of an online picker, have some boxes made and start selling them. This was, very detailed design work. And you can tell no matter what product comes from Ultimate Guard that there was a lot of care put into it. So we want to say thanks for them. And if you're interested in picking up anything, you can check out ultimateguard.com, or you can go to your local retailer and ask them for it there as well. Luis, big picture stuff. As you said, the format seems to be kind of breaking down into 3 large chunks. What's your favorite one? Like, do you have a go-to right now?
I think that the deck or decks I like playing the most are the green-black or blue-black Descend decks, just because they have this fun aspect of kind of like a dredge-ish, not quite so extreme, but you get access to, it feels like your whole deck every game. And I really like that element to it. It's really fun. Like pretty much the best cards you can have for these are a good creature. So like Chupacabra Echo is just amazing. Like the deck I actually texted you and Chion the other day had 2 of those in that green-black deck.
And multiple ways to get them back too.
Yeah, and like 6 ways to get it back because I had 2 of the Quaddle Scavengers and 2 of the double Raised Deads.
Yep.
So I guess I had 6, those 4 plus the 2 Chupacabras. When you have a really strong creature, whether it's that or like a good rare creature or like a Polani's Hatcher that you splash for, you get to get it back and you get to see it many, many times. And that is really, really cool. Like you get to mill it and then raise dead it a bunch. And it just really, it kind of is a force multiplier on this really good card. This card, it's like a, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 in your deck. You then get to draw it effectively every single game. And that is a really cool aspect that isn't always present in Limited. I still do like drafting the beatdown decks. I think that the games can be pretty good. Like obviously there's some games that are not the most exciting, but I overall have found the gameplay to be pretty solid. And the games that are good are pretty good. Yes, there are some games where someone just has 1-drop into double 1-drop or even just 1-drop, 2-drop on the play and the opponent, their first play is on turn 2 and then the person on the play like kills it, plays another 1-drop and the game's over, right? You went Tomb Raider into Oaken Siren into a Braid plus another Tomb Raider. And those games, not the most exciting, but the games where both players have good draws and they can kind of compete with each other, I think that those games are awesome. Like I find that the format actually plays out pretty well in that spot.
Yeah, a lot of times you and I will put an emphasis on the gameplay, especially as the format goes forward, because the draft part tends to kind of settle in, especially after the initial rush of having a lot more players in the queues than there normally are because there's a new set and it's exciting. And then as time goes on, it's kind of, you, me, and our listeners, right? The hardcore drafters who are still here drafting every day. And as that happens, people tend to kind of figure it out and slot into their lane. And it can make the draft portion a little bit more straightforward than it normally would be, where you're not just getting these like wild curveballs thrown at you or crazy stuff. And that puts a lot of pressure on the gameplay, to kind of keep up and be interesting. And so far the gameplay for me has been very solid. There's a lot going on, but not so much that it's just like a total mess every time. But combat's interesting. Craft is always something that you have to keep your eye out for. It's sort of somebody plays an early craft card that has a good late game effect, and it's kind of like you hear a ticking sound in the background about like, okay, right, that thing's coming down at some point. I need to plan for it. I need to be aware of it. I've got a removal spell, in my hand. Do I wait for them to craft, or do I just kill the one thing that's annoying right now and try to kill them before they can? Lots of interesting little, subtle decisions like that. And then if anybody's doing any graveyard stuff, you have to do that too. I in the first early days of the format, I thought the graveyard would be an even bigger part of the equation. It's been a little more quarantined to just, certain decks that care about it more, but still it matters. Like it's around, and, even for craft and stuff like that. So yeah, I've overall been happy with the format as well. I don't really have, any big complaints about it. It will not end up being, an all-timer or something. I'm not like, hey, this is the one, but like there's enough different stuff going on. One thing that I really appreciate about this format too is how well they nailed the dinosaurs deck. Like it's good. It's not absurd, but it's very, very good. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen red green be a themed creature deck based on the exact same themes that dinosaurs deck is based on, which is basically size and speed with some fight spells or whatever, and they miss. If it's just a little bit too low, it just falls off so quickly, where your creatures are just sort of these big dumb things that you cast. They get interacted with, bounced, killed, whatever, and you lose. And this has not been the case. They really hit a nice balance. And to me, I think that's really important that they can do that, particularly for green. Green seems to be the color that is the most difficult to get right in Limited because it traditionally leans on just big creatures. But everything else that's evolved around that means that just big green creatures isn't really that good anymore. Every other creature has freaking enter the battlefield abilities. There's stuff getting bounced, killed left and right. There's value that's being gained from creatures that have already been cast and then can do something later from the graveyard or on the battlefield, or, crafting or whatever you want to call it for a given set. And those types of more simple cards can really get left behind. But I find them to be really, really important because almost always they are combat centric. And to me, the beauty of limited is combat. That's the thing that in a lot of times you don't have in constructed, because the creatures are so good that they kind of go by each other. Like there's not a lot of like, I'm going to double block, in constructed. And that's actually like a relevant decision point. It's more, how much stuff can I deploy? And the cards kind of stand on their own. But in limited, that's not the case. Like combat tricks matter, instant speed removal matters, double blocks matter, triple blocks matter. Those type of things really shine through. And of course, the creatures that would benefit the most from that are the big ones, the ones that you're getting, good payoff from in green. And I think they've really done it here. And I want to applaud them for that. It's a subtlety. It's not, a super obvious thing. But I do believe that if we lose the script on creature combat in limited and it becomes like a mirror of mini standard or mini constructed, then I think we've lost something that's, really integral to why limited's interesting, and also why Magic is interesting. I mean, a lot of that's, go back to the old formats now, Legacy and Vintage and stuff, and there's not a lot of combat, right? And that was, one of the pillars that Magic was based on. So to me, limited is kind of the last bastion of that, and I don't want to see it go away, and I'm glad to see that they're able to kind of nail things down, at least in one of them here.
If you told us that the blue was one of the best colors in the format and a fast blue like red or blue-white aggro deck were among the best decks, our guess would be that red-green dinos would be a bad deck. It wouldn't work.
Yes.
But they've done a couple of things which I really like in the set. And some of this isn't even unique to this set, which is one I've mentioned before on the show. They just give trample out for free, basically. Every creature that's big, with some exceptions, has trample. They just, or like evasion, like Cavern Stomper. They just realize that big creatures are inherently worse than small creatures. 6-drops need more to get over the line than 1 and 2 drops. And part of that is just giving them trample so that when you land your 6-drop and it doesn't die, the opponent's actually in trouble and not. I remember when they used to not give trample so freely, they'd play their 6-drop and your Flyers deck would just chump it twice and kill them.
Yes.
And you can't do that when it's like a 6/6 trample. The other thing is they gave life gain with the Kin Caller, the 3-mana 3/3, and they actually gave the Dinos deck good cards at 2 and 3 mana, like Burning Sun's Cavalry and the Kin Caller to compete. It's not just 4s and 5s and 6s. So you can draft the Dino ramp deck that uses Poison Dart Frog, or maybe you have the 1-drop that taps only for Dino mana.
Yeah.
And are trying to turbo out 4, 5, and 6. But you can also draft the 2-drop into 3-drop Dino deck that actually works really well. So those are all reasons that I think that this worked out a lot better than it typically does, which I like.
Interesting that you note that as well. The combat trick that's doing the best is 1 and a green +3/+3 and trample, right? Like those are the subtle differences, the attention to detail that you have to make these things get over the top for sure. And, it's interesting that you said the Kin Caller also, because even though you wouldn't think that life gain would really fit into the equation that I just described, it sure does. Man, that card is a stop sign, for the low to the ground aggro decks, where it blocks well and it gives you a life cushion that really does matter, because you don't need that many extra turns after you get the dinosaurs down if you're playing against a 1-drop and 2-drop deck and you're the 3 and 4-drop dinosaur deck. Like, you could turn that corner very, very quickly with the huge creatures, but you do need that cushion to do so, and it provides it. Shall we jump into a draft, Luis?
Yes, we shall. So, as you mentioned today, we're going to be doing some drafts. So let's fire it up and see kind of which direction we go. I actually don't know where you land in terms of the Descend decks.
I like them.
Nice.
I'm with you. Yeah. I've only got to try green black a couple times, but I really liked it. I thought, why am I not drafting this more? But I might have just been lucky or whatever. But I've done blue black a bunch of times. All right, here we go. We're going to start off with a premier draft this time. Oh, we got a nice one. A rare.
A couple premier cards, actually.
Yeah, we got Preacher of the Schism. We got Defossilize, Glimpse the Core, and Itzquinth as our rares and uncommons. What else do we have here that jumps out to you?
Nothing. All the commons are terrible. We can basically disregard them.
Yeah.
And the Preacher of the Schisms, this is the 2 and a black 2/4 death touch that when it attacks, you either draw a card, lose a life, or make a 1/1 vamp, or both, depending on the life totals. Incredible card. That one just dominates Defossilized. There's no reason to even consider Defossilized with that in the pack.
Yeah.
There is also Itzquinth, which is the red-green 2/3 that with haste that also you can pay 2 to have one of your dinos bite one of their creatures. It's a good card. It's probably what's going to get taken out of this pack after we take Preacher, but I don't think it makes sense to take a 2-color card versus a 1-color card, and I think the 1-color card is actually just better anyway.
Yeah. The only argument, right, is that black is the weakest color as far as like depth and that kind of thing goes. And, red green dinos is like a very solid deck, one of the top 3 decks, but Preacher is so much better that we're going to take it here.
I actually think black and green are comparable in that if you draft green, you're happy to play red green or black green. You're not really that happy to play green white, and you're very unhappy to play blue green. Whereas black, you're happy to play blue black or black green and Descend, and sometimes white black Sacrifice. So I think black's actually a little bit more flexible than green is to start out with.
Yeah, it's just
but they're clearly the 2 weakest colors compared to the Jeskai colors.
Next pack we've got Sinuous Benthesaur. That's the Caves payoff. There's a Nikanzel. That's the blue green Explore payoff. There's a Dig Site Conservator, which I like. And then the black cards in the pack are Deadweight and Skullcap Snail, both of which have been really good.
I would lean towards just taking Deadweight. I think that keeping yourself alive is worth giving up the little bit of card advantage that the Snail would give you. I would be happy to take both after Preacher, though.
Yeah, same. And I like Deadweight as well. Man, I want to set up this Preacher so bad. I love that card. All right,
yeah,
so
the
we're going to
set
take
does
Deadweight.
have that kind of that cycle that you mentioned during the set review of cheap, really effective rares, like 3-mana rares. And the Preacher is like maybe the best of them, or at least at the forefront.
Yeah. Next up, we've got on uncommons, we've got Waterlogged Hulk, Enterprising Scallywag, and a Pit of Offerings. A common, there's an Oaken Siren, an Armored Kincaller, a Skullcap Snail, there's an Echo of Dust. Yeah, those are the cards that stand out.
So I find Echo of Dusk to be extremely important for the Black Descend decks as ways to race the 1-drops. I still, at this point, am taking Skullcap Snail over it, though, because the Snail is just free value. Like, it's hard to turn down free real estate. It's
just always good. So we're going to take the Skullcap Snail. A little bit of a pull here. There's an Armored Kincaller and an Oaken Siren that kind of say, hey, we could we could put some cards in the graveyard if you guys want. But yeah, we're just going to take Skullcap Snail. Next, we've got Bartolome Petrify. That's interesting that's there. There's an Inverted Iceberg. Wow. The only black card is Blood Rage Mycoid. That's the 4-drop. And then, there's like a Cartographer's Companion. What do you like here? I mean, there's Petrify Iceberg.
So Bartolome and Petrify are the same color to me because we're not moving off black under pretty much any circumstances.
Right.
I think I would just take the Inverted Iceberg because I like blue-black more than black-white, and I think it's just an awesome card.
Me too. So, it's close between Petrify, I think, and that, but blue-black is definitely preferable in my mind. I mean, and this is part of the reason why. Like, we opened the Signpost Uncommon Bartolome, and it's just like, whatever. Like, that card doesn't call to me. All right, so we've got Deadweight, Inverted Iceberg, Skullcap Snail, and Preacher of the Schism right now. Next up, there's another Waterlogged Hulk. There's a Canonized in Blood. That's the one that is like a Descend payoff, but a weird one. Like, it gives you +1/+1 counters. There's a Miner's Guidewing in the pack. Sunshot Militia. Other black card is a Mephitic Draft.
So had we taken Petrify or Bartolome, I think we'd just take the Miner's Guidewing and be pretty happy. But I actually think here's a spot where I would take Waterlogged Hulk and I would start to go towards the Descend route. I think that Hulk around 5th pick is a fine place to be. You've got Inverted Iceberg to play with Descend, and you've got some good early black plays. This is the setup. I mean, this is how we get into the Descend deck. So I think this is a good example to show folks as to like, how do you end up playing more than 40 cards? This is the start of that.
Yeah, especially if we wheel the other Waterlogged Hulk, then we're like, we're pushing 50. Let's see. Volatile Fault is pack 1 pick 6s are uncommon commons. There's a Puzzle Door, Relic's Roar, Another Chance, and a Goblin a Deep Goblin Skull Taker. Maybe take another chance here.
I would take another chance here. You do want like 2 of these in your decks, and I think Puzzle Door and Skull Taker are very replaceable. Frilled Cave Worm's also quite playable in these archetypes, but you wheel those. No one else at the table really wants them.
Yeah. All right, so we'll take another chance. That's our second 3-drop, and it gives us a chance to get back the Preacher. All right, pack 1, pick 7. Ooh, another Skullcap Snail in this pack. There's not much else for us here. There's a Pirate Hat. There is a hidden Necropolis, the black cave. But yeah, we're just going to take our second Skullcap Snail. Go for a little value descend here, anybody? I like this. All right, pack 1, pick 8. So this the card before our wheel. Oh, nice. So there's an Abyssal Gorestalker. That's a 6-mana 6/6 that has each player sack 2. There's a Puzzle Door. There is an Echo of Dust that you said you thought was important. And then there's also a Fanatical Offering, the sack a creature or artifact, draw 2 cards and make a map.
I would slam Echo here. This is exactly where you want it. And you really just can't go wrong with having a bunch of 2-drops in these decks, because you do end up, if you get another chance and you probably get a couple more expensive cards, you don't need tons, because again, this deck kind of sees a lot of cards. When you lead on Waterlogged Hulk into Echo, and then at some point cast another chance, that's when you get your big Land Cycler back or whatever rare that you milled earlier.
All right, our wheel pack is back. Pack 1, pick 9. Nothing really good for us here. There's a Mephitic Draft. There's a Promising Vein. There's a Disruptor Wanderer Glyph. The rest of the cards are off color for us.
I think I would actually take the Mineshaft Spider here, because I don't think Mephitic Draught is a card I really am going to miss if I don't take it. Mm-hmm. But we could be green-black. We have all black cards and 2 blue cards. True. And the Spider's awesome in this deck. It's actually super important. It's kind of like Echo of Dusk in that this is how you protect yourself from their small creatures. And wow, we got a third Skullcap Snail. These do actually get better in multiples. Like, it's not like they really run out of cards in hand that quickly. Yeah. Like, you're going to get something. And then it's only competing with a Frilled Cave Worm and a Nurturing Bristleback, which those are both fine. But I would rather take the Skullcap Snail. We know we're drafting black. We don't really know past that.
That's right. And this is a spot that you really want to find yourself in as often as possible. We
Echo
super
of
wheeled
Dusk
the Echo of
alongside
Dust.
Cards you don't care about. Though In the Presence of Ages is kind of like a bad mill card if you end up. It's not that it's not that In the Presence of Ages is bad. This is the mill 4 and you get a creature or land back. It's that I would rather be playing other mill enablers, but if you have to play this one, that one's also fine.
But we're taking Echo of Dusk, so we've got 2 of those, 3 Skullcap Snails. Pack 1, pick 12.
Here, do you take Brood Rage, Mycoid, or Frilled Cave Worm? I guess you probably take the Mycoid.
I just take the Mycoid.
It's mediocre, but the Cave Worm's not like anything special. And I love going into pack 2 with, what is this going to be, 9 black cards that we wouldn't mind playing?
Right. And we got Canonized in Blood and In the Presence of Ages.
I've just never played Canonized in Blood. Yeah, I don't really believe in it.
It just doesn't fit. I'm just going to take it.
I would just take In the Presence of. I guess you could take it. Sure, you could just cut black. Look, we got a Frilled Cave Worm for free.
Yeah, free Frilled Cave Worms, everybody. Okay, so right now we've got a Waterlogged Hulk, a Deadweight, an Inverted Iceberg, 2 Echo of Dusk, 2 Snails, another Chance, Preacher of the Schism, Blood Rage, Mycoid, and then a Mineshaft Spider. Pack 2, pick 1. We opened Jade Light Spelunker. This is the X and a green 1/1, and when it enters a battlefield, it explores X times. And then we've also got Defossilize, my pet card for the set, Grasping Shadows, Tendril of the Myco Tyrant. That's the 2-drop that gets bigger later, and then a Sorceress Spyglass. The rest of the pack, let's see what we've got here. Well, there's a Petrify, there's an Acolyte of Akhlazotz, Vito's Inquisitor, there's an Abrade here. We're just taking Defossilize?
I think so. I think Defossilize is better than Grasping Shadows. I'm not confident that it's better than Jade Light Spelunker, but I would rather still take a black card and just kind of defer the decision of whether we're playing blue or green, or maybe some other color. I don't know. We could get some other great card here. And if we did, then I would rather be able to pivot into that easily.
Yeah. All right, next up, there's Synapse Necromage, another Abyssal Gorestalker in the uncommon slot. Commons, there's another Inverted Iceberg. There's also a Mineshaft Spider. What do you think about Synapse Necromage?
Totally fine.
Yeah.
One of the things I found is the black decks don't use the 1/1 fungus tokens very effectively. There's unless you're sacrifice, which is
black,
sometimes
white.
in black, not white, but mostly in white black. I still think it's a good rate card, and I think we're going to wheel the spider anyway. Like no one else wants it. You could take the Gore Stalker, but I think I would just take the 3-drop. I just like taking the cheaper cards in general, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And our curve isn't so we'll still need to tend to that as well. So we'll take Synapse Necromage. We still have off black. We've got 1 Waterlogged Hulk, 1 Inverted Iceberg, and 1 Mineshaft Spider. So we really have not answered that question yet, which is what we want. All right, next up, there is a Deeproot Pilgrimage. That's the Merfolk build around. There's another Synapse Necromage. There's also Fungal Fortitude, Screaming Phantom. There's a Pathfinding Axejaw, which is a good green card, but should we just take another Necromage? I think
you just take the Synapse Necromage. Yeah. I don't see a reason not to do that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. The Merfolk build around's not really for us, and the rest is just kind of mediocre. There's another Petrify. There's a lot of those flying around. One of my favorite cards, Master's Guide Mural, is here. I like that card a lot, but yeah, we'll just take the Necromage. And once again, defer our decision on what our second color is going to be. This is a privilege. You know, you don't normally get to wait this long. You're kind of forced to make that decision earlier, but there's been so many good black cards open. We're okay. All right, next there's Hit the Mother Load. What is that? Oh, to discover 10, right? And then the Mischievous Pup, Abyssal Gorestalker at the uncommons. For black, there's a Rampaging Spiketail and a Deep Goblin Skulltaker. For blue, there's an Out of Air. There's another Mineshaft Spider in green and a River Herald Guide as well.
Maybe here's where we take the Abyssal Gorestalker. With all these Synapse Necromages, I bet it's actually pretty good.
Oh,
and
we're
gonna get another Mineshaft Spider back, and if we don't, it's not the end of the world. Like
we'll probably get another Gorestalker back. We've had is this our like third or fourth one we've opened?
Yeah, I mean there's been a lot.
Yeah. All right. So we'll take an Abyssal Gorestalker. Yeah, with the Necromages, that's kind of sweet. All right, next up, we've got an uncommon with Soul Coil Viper. In green, there's a Glowcap Lantern and Twist and Turns. There's also another Skullcap Snail here for us if we want it. How have you been on the Viper? It's the one that returns creature.
I think it's solid. I wouldn't take a 4th Skullcap Snail. I think I would take the Viper because we got this Abyssal Gorestalker, and I like that more than the 4th Snail, I think.
I don't know, man. Snail's pretty good with Gorestalker, right? We just like litter the ground with snails and then slam a Gorestalker.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't object to that too much.
I'm just going to take the snail. We're snail.deck here. The reason also is that I have not been very impressed with the Viper. It's just too weak on its own. Ooh, this next pack's nice. There's a Deadweight and a Deathcap Marionette. There's also a Bloodthorn Flail in black. But there's also an Inverted Iceberg.
Yeah, I would just take
Marionette
Deadweight.
Or the Deadweight?
The problem I have with Marionette is we have a bunch of ground chumpers. We have all the snails, all the Necromages. Right. Let's just take something that can kill Oaken Siren or something along those lines.
I like that. Okay, so Deadweight number 2 joins the pack. This is pack 2, pick 6, by the way. We're heading into pack 7. There's another Abyssal Gorestalker.
Yeah, I think I would take it over another chance here.
Yeah, there's also a
Stinging Cave Crawler. No, that card's really good.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. We'll probably wheel a Gorestalker. Not this one, but we did open one, I think, second or third pick. We'll probably get it back. So we'll take Stinging Cave Crawler, and I guess we're just going to be mono black unless something weird happens. Let's see. This is pack 1 or pack 2, pick 8. We've got Screaming Phantom in black. Song of Stupefaction in blue. There's just nothing really here.
Yeah, I think Screaming Phantom's okay. I don't think you want In the Presence of Ages. I'd rather take the Screaming Phantom. You just try to minimize the amount of non-permanent cards in your deck.
All right.
And then Tendrils of the Micro Tyrant came back, though the Spider didn't, I think, was the same pack, or maybe that was a different pack. That was the next pack.
I think it's the next one. Yeah. So for us, we could take Vito's Inquisitor or Acolyte of Oklazotz. Whatever. I'm just going to take the Acolyte, I guess. I mean, Tendril's like not even that good. And there's the Gore Stalker.
Yep, there we go. All right, that was a good call not taking the other one then.
Oh, man, we have 2 Gore Stalkers. Oh, this is funny. Okay, and pack 2, pick 11, Fungal Fortitude, Screaming Phantom number 2, or a Song of Stupefaction. Whatever, I'll just take the Screaming Phantom.
Yeah, I think the Screaming Phantom's fine there. There's not much it does.
Man, we still have 1 Waterlogged Hulk, 1 Inverted Iceberg, and 1 Mineshaft Spider for non-black cards. That is wild. All right, I'm going to take an out of air here. Pack 2, pick 12. Pack 2, pick 13. Wow, the Soul Coil
Then the Soul Coil Viper came back. All right. I mean, I guess that plays.
Yeah, and then we'll take a Buried Treasure, and then our last pick is another chance. Oh my God. We're actually going to play it.
Sure, we'll take a 15th pick, another chance.
No kidding.
We're basically mono black going into pack 3. This is awesome.
This is sweet. All right, pack 3, pick 1. Ooh, we opened a Braided Net. That's in blue.
I like that.
There's also a Spyglass Siren, which is also really good. And then there's an Ixali's Lorekeeper in green there. Black cards in the pack, there's 1. It's Acolyte of Oklazot. So we are finally going to be taking something else. And it looks like it's between Braided Net, Spyglass Siren, or Spyglass Siren's big brother, the Waterwind Scout. I think we just take the net, right?
Yeah, the net is great. It gives us a really good removal element, and I think that is totally fine here.
And that would unlock the Iceberg and perhaps the Waterlogged Hulk if we do end up committing to blue. So we take the net. Next up, Restless Anchorage. I like that card, but not for us. There's a Visage of Dread and a Hurl into History, as well as a Join the Dead. Other notable blue cards, there's an Ancestral Reminiscence and a Shipwreck Sentry, but wow. So for me, it's between Visage of Dread and Join the Dead. Do you have do you agree with that? And if so, where would you like to go?
I think I like the Visage a lot. I kind of feel like we want Join the Dead because we have so much hand disruption with the 4 copies of the snail that I'm worried that's not going to be how we want it to play out. Because
that happens sometimes when you're all disrupting their hand, but they just like play 2 creatures and you can't answer them. That's another Abyssal Gore Stalker.
But there's also a Bitter Triumph.
And there's also a Bitter Triumph. We'll get this one back, right? We'll take the Bitter Triumph. Out of this pack, there's a Gore Stalker and a snail. And then we're going to take the Triumph, but we could definitely wheel one of those 2. Would we play a 3rd Abyssal Gore Stalker?
I don't think we would. It's just too expensive, and we have the 2 copies of Another Chance. So I think we're going to have enough ways to pick it up if we need to.
I mean, I'm not planning on paying full price for my Gore Stalker. I'm paying 4 from a Viper total, or 5 from the what's it called, the whatever the 5-drop that we got defossilized. All right, next there's, let's see, nothing. Didact Echo in blue and Fungal Fortitude in black. Yikes.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to play any of those things.
Yeah.
I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see any card here that we're very likely to play at all.
Yeah, there's nothing. The uncommons are Bat Colony, Curator of Sun's Creation. I'll just take Fungal Fortitude and put it in the yard. Wow, Chupacabra Echo and Deep Cavern Bat. What is going on?
We got to slam the Echo. We're the only black player at the table. There's no one else is drafting black. I mean, we're really teaching people how to do it. I do think that we went into this deck at the right time. Like, we opened a black rare, got past a couple black cards. It has turned out that we're not really going to be green-black or blue-black Descend. We're just going to be mono-black Descend, probably playing Inverted Iceberg, Braided Net, and not Waterlogged Hulk is my guess.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Oh, man. I can't believe it had Deep Cavern Bat and Chupacabra Echo in the same pack. We are really unlucky. All right, there we go. We took the Echo. Next up, there's an Eaten by Piranhas. That card's been all right. Merfolk Cave Diver. There's another Echo of Dusk, an Oaken Siren, a Cogwork Wrestler, and another chance.
I don't think we need a 3rd Another Chance. I would probably just take Echo of Dusk
we
here.
We do have 2 of those. Is the 3rd one?
I mean, I guess you could take Eaten by Piranhas. We are a little. The problem is that's not that good with Abyssal Gorestalker. But I guess we don't really need the third Echo. We're not that good at milling ourselves.
Right. That's the thing. We're more towards the value end of things. I'll take Eaten by Piranhas, and we'll see how it goes. Next is Pack 3, Pick 7. We've got Didact Echo, River Herald Scout, Deep Goblin, Skull Taker, Mephitic Draft, and a Runaway Boulder. Womp.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much here. We're already cutting cards. I mean, I guess you could take River Herald Scout or something. We're really not playing any of these cards.
Yeah, we're not going to play these. Like you said, just as a recap, we've got 28 cards right now that we could play. All right, well, here's an unlucky drop if we do want a little bit more interaction. If not, there's two cards we probably wouldn't play, a Primordial Gnaw and a Greedy Freebooter.
I don't think we're going to need the unlucky drop. We've got enough black removal, and then the Braided Net is kind of nice. I guess here we've got another River Herald Scout, which we're still not that interested in playing, and maybe an Acolyte of Aclazotz, which I guess we're probably not going to play that either.
Yeah, we already have one. I'll just take the River Herald Scout. This is our wheel pack, by the way, Pack 3, Pick 9. Okay, well, we did wheel a few cards out of that second pick. We've got the Hurl into History, Ancestral Reminiscence, and a Fanatical Offering. I'll just take Ancestral Reminiscence. Actually, you know what? I'll take Fanatical Offering. Yeah, we've got all these snails. Yeah, totally. And we wheeled the other snail. Can I upgrade you to 5 of them? Yeah, the Fanatical Offering is just like definitely actually making the cut now. All right. And then we pick up a Sage of Days, which we're not going to play. A Vito's Inquisitor, which we're not going to play as we wind down Pack 3. Another Chance, which I guess could make it. That is our third one, though. We probably don't want all 3. Okay. Wow. Mono black, anybody? Not quite. We'll probably play those blue cards. Okay, so let's get a build going here. So right now we're at 48 cards. The first question is blue. Are we playing the blue cards, and if so, which? Like, do we actually need, Eaten by Piranhas and Inverted Iceberg, especially after we picked up the Fanatical Offering? We don't really need those. So the question is like, do we want to splash a Braided Net? And if so, would we drag along a couple of these cards with them? Or do we just want to have mono black?
Well,
because we need to cut, 7 or 8 cards here.
Yeah. Given that we have to cut so many cards, let's just not play the blue. Why? That's what I think too. So good. Why be, why take the risk here? We could just cut all the blue cards. And then we could probably play 16 lands because we're just mono black.
That's what I'm thinking too. We've got definitely some mediocre stuff that we can cut here. So right now I just cut some of the low hanging fruit type stuff. So we've got 43 cards with 17 lands. We're probably going to be on 16 lands here. So we've got 2 cards to cut. We've got double Deadweight. Then we've got Bitter Triumph, 2 Echo of Dusk, which I don't know. Are those good in our deck? I don't know yet. A Fanatical Offering, 5 Skullcap Snails, 2 copies of Another Chance, which I think, I don't know how good those are at this point. The Preacher that we first picked, 2 copies of Screaming Phantom, a Soul Coil Viper, a Stinging Cave Crawler, double Synapse Necromage, a Join the Dead. And then at the 4, we've got the Blood Rage Mycoid, which is pretty mediocre. The Chupacabra Echo, Defossilize at 5, and then double Abyssal Gorestalker up top. Cards that I'm looking at are like maybe one of the copies of Another Chance, the Blood Rage Mycoid, maybe a Screaming Phantom, maybe an Echo, something along those lines.
Yeah, I mean, certainly we're going to cut a Screaming Phantom. I probably cut a Brood Rage Mycoid as well.
Oh, Brood Rage, not Blood Rage. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. This leaves us.
Yeah.
This deck looks awesome. I mean,
yeah.
If they have cards in hand, we're coming for them.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, so that's going to be our first deck. I'll go through it, the final build here. It's double Deadweight at the 1. 2 drops are Bitter Triumph, 2 Echo of Dusk, Fanatical Offering, and 5 Skullcap Snails. 3 drops are 2 copies of Another Chance, a Preacher of the Schism, a Screaming Phantom, a Soul Coil Viper, a Stinging Cave Crawler, 2 Synapse Necromage, and a Join the Dead. 4s are Chupacabra Echo. 5 is Defossilize, and 6 is Abyssal Gorestalker. The land count is 16 swamps. That is sweet, man. We drafted mono black. Like I've not drafted mono anything in this format yet. So there you go.
Yeah, This is one of the better decks I think we could have ended up with. I mean,
so funny. Like you said, we're really teaching, today. What's the lesson? It's just be the only person in the color in your entire pod. Oh man. That's a sweet one. All right, we'll jump into another here. This one's going to be a traditional draft. So we will be considering sideboard stuff, as well. But, those are usually tiebreakers or late picks. It doesn't dramatically change your approach to the format or whatever. Man, mono black?
Mono black, that's funny. There's not even really an incentive to do it, but obviously once we're at that point, like, why put islands in your deck for cards that are only the only card we would really want is Braided Net. And even then, like, it's not like it's that much better than the last card we cut. I mean, it is better, but is it better enough to play 5 islands instead of just 11 swamps and then some percentage of the time draw Braided Net and no island, or draw double island swamp and have like a double black card in hand and just get, wrecked like that.
Yeah. Also, it feels, one of the big benefits you get from being monocolored is that you get to shave a land basically for free. And we got to do that here too. Okay, our next draft, it looks like it's just about ready to fire here. Come on, something sweet. All right, we opened Throne of the Grim Captain. Oh, that is something very sweet. And then we've also got Sinuous Benthesor, Waterlogged Hulk, Earthshaker Dreadmaw. I love that guy. At the uncommon slot. For commons, okay, there is a Waterwind Scout. There's some good stuff for our prior deck with another snail and marionette and stuff. But really, the cards that stand out to me are Throne of the Grim Captain, because it's sweet, Earthshaker Dreadmaw, and Waterwind Scout.
Honestly, I mean, I would take Throne of the Grim Captain here for sure. The question for me is, like, do you want to draft kind of a similar deck again? But Throne is a pretty cool card to draft around. I think that's going to be more interesting than Waterwind Scout.
Slamming. Like, people did not come here to watch us take Waterwind Scout. Like,
yeah.
Plus, you can make this card really sweet if you get it this early. Like, you can keep an eye on, like, land cyclers that fill up your yard with the thing.
Yeah, nice little dinosaur here and there.
Exactly. All right, so we're going to take Throne of the Grim Captain, pack one, pick one. Next up, there's a Spyglass Siren, there's a Hermetic Nautilus, there's an Explorer's Cache. Those are the uncommons. There's a Brackish Blunder at common. What else do we see here? An Abrade.
Yeah, I'm slamming Spyglass Siren here. It's a pirate.
Sure.
It helps explore. Like, I think it just does kind of the things that you're looking to do.
Definitely. So we'll keep a running count. This is one of the annoyances to drafting the Throne of the Grim Captain, is that you have to know how many merfolk, pirates, and dinosaurs and
that you do.
Vampires you have. Yeah. So right now we've got one pirate, and we
got our pirate locked in. And I just think that given the color situation of Throne of the Grim Captain, I don't think you can really justify taking a Braid here. Not that a Braid's even necessarily better than Spyglass Siren. I like Spyglass Siren more.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you that. So are you assuming that we're blue-black after taking the Spyglass Siren here?
I think we would like to be blue-black, yes.
Okay.
I mean, we could move away from the throne, but we're not going to.
Can I interest you in a Chupacabra Echo?
Yes,
Pack
you can.
Two,
A third
pack
pick.
One, pick three.
Third pick Chupacabra Echo with Ukbenbach, the blue-black 6/4 flyer or menace vigilance, means that I think blue-black, it looks pretty open to me, and I would certainly take the Chupacabra Echo here.
I don't think we can take it, though, because it's not a pirate or dinosaur, so we have to take something else.
I think we'll survive.
You think we'll figure it out? Actually, is there? Wow, there isn't actually one of those in the pack.
There's no cards that
No,
fit.
it's all salamander worms and frogs and stuff. All right, fine. We'll take the Chupacabra Echo then, since we couldn't pick up the other thing anyway. All right, so we've got Spyglass Siren, Throne of the Grim Captain, and Chupacabra Echo right now. Pack one, pick four. Malicious Eclipse. Speaking of sideboard cards, there's a Didact Echo. There's a Deathcap Marionette, which looks like the pick here. Some decent cards in this pack, though. There's an Atali's Favor and a Pathfinding Axejaw.
So in this spot, I've tried to play Malicious Eclipse, and it doesn't work that well. Like, there are times when this card can be good, and the dream is like they play their 1/1 flyers, and then they play a 2-drop, and then you go boom, kill their 3 creatures.
Yeah.
The reality is they just have an Oaken Siren, and they put a +1/+1 counter on it, or they equip a Deconstruction Hammer, or they play 1 creature and 2 artifacts. You should just take the Thallid or the 1/1 Death Toucher.
The Death Cat Marionette. Yeah.
The Marionette. That's what it is. Because that is perfect for the deck. It defends you, it mills, it does everything you want. And I just haven't found Malicious Eclipse to actually be worth it. Also, costing double black means sometimes it would be good, but you don't have double black on turn 3.
Mm-hmm. That's true. It also happens to kill both creatures that we had picked so far. So yeah, no on that. All right, pack 1, pick 5. There's a Swashbuckler's Whip at the uncommon as well as Forgotten Monument, but there is a deadweight floating around here in black. The only blue card in the pack is Didact Echo. So I just like taking deadweight.
Oh yeah. Happy to take deadweight here.
Yeah. Deadweight's sweet. It's also, a perfect fit for the format, right? It's a permanent that goes to the graveyard quite readily.
So one thing that's important for this throne is we really do want to pick up the land cycling dinosaur, the Spiketail.
Yeah, the Spiketail, yeah.
Because you get pirates and merfolk fairly easily. Vampires actually isn't free for blue-black, though. Actually, we're about to pick up a vampire here because Echo of Dusk, I think, is just so good in this deck. I do like the Brine Fang. That's the dinosaur land cycler, the blue one. But I think Echo is too important. It's just a critical piece of actually getting paid off early for milling yourself. And again, the best way to beat Miner's Guidewing and Spyglass Siren is not to kill them. It's to just put a 3/3 lifelinker into play and race them.
Yeah. And we are trying to turbo here, right? I mean, we want to get to Descend 4 as fast as possible. Games where we draw Throne of the Grim Captain is going to be great because it just slams cards into your yard. So we're going to take Echo of Dusk here. Pack 1, pick 7. There's our buddy, the Abyssal Gorestalker. We just can't get enough. There's also another Malicious Eclipse. There's a Bat Colony, Primordial Gnar, Relic's Roar, and a Frilled Cave Worm.
This is really weird, but we have currently 4 black cards, a throne, and 1 blue card.
We don't know that we're blue-black.
I think I would take the Abyssal Gorestalker here.
I just think
too. The upside is a lot higher than Frilled Cave Worm, and none of these cards help our throne, in terms of creature types anyway.
Agreed. We would play a Cave Worm in the deck, but it's just, you can pick one up whenever.
Look, Frilled Cave Worm I view is like, it's kind of like a basic land. You can add as many as you want to your deck. Like, it's really hard to not end up with enough of those if that's what you're looking for.
And this type of pick, by the way, keeps you open. So we have 1 Spyglass Siren, but we could be in green. Like, we could be black-green.
You could play Throne in green-black. It's a little harder, but you could do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so next pick is pack 1, pick 8. We've got Twists and Turns, as well as Contested Game Ball for uncommon. Common, not much. There's a Song of Stupefaction, which we could actually play, and then there's also an Acolyte of Aklazats here.
My inclination is to take the Acolyte because now we have another vampire, and it's not great, but it can be playable, and you kind of want to have a couple of each type if you can get there.
Oh man, pack 1, pick 9, we wield the Earthshaker Dreadmaw. That makes me sad. At any rate, in black, there's a Fanatical Offering and a Screaming Phantom.
It's not crazy to take the Earthshaker here.
Yeah?
I probably wouldn't. I think just take the Screaming Phantom. I think the card works fine in these decks.
I think we should, yeah.
But Earthshaker, wheeling is something. I would still just take a black card, especially since the Throne of the Grim Captain decks, like they will play the 3-mana 2/2 flyer because that also blocks their 1/1 flyers, and milling every turn for free is pretty nice.
Okay, pack 1, pick 10, Explorer's Cache, Fungal Fortitude, Chasm Stone Tree, Secret of Sunlight. So just kind of a bunch of junk.
Yeah, I think Explorer's Cache is okay. Not really for this deck, but
I'll take it and put it in the sideboard for now.
I think that's fine.
All right, there's your free Frilled Cave Worm. I guess we'll take it here. Sure.
It's not exciting, but I think it's a little better than the Primordial Gnar. That's the 5/2 that discovers 3. And I don't like the artifact, the 3/4 mana 3/4, the Wanderglyph or whatever, Disruptor Wanderglyph that exiles cards. I think that card not very interesting.
No. Wow, you really weren't kidding. Pack 1, pick 12, there's another Frilled Cave Worm, but we could also take a Song of Stupefaction or a Didact Echo or even a Runaway Boulder.
I would take a song here. I think when all three of these blue commons, actually all four of these cards are your like last 3 to 4 cards in your blue black descend deck, and you just kind of want a mix of them. So it's kind of funny that those are all in the same pack.
All right, winding down pack 1, we're picking up a Mephitic draft, but we're not going to end up playing it, and then a Walk with the Ancestors. So
I mean, it's good with Acolyte of Ixalan, and look, a free frilled cave worm literally couldn't refuse it. It is not your choice to put the card in your deck.
To basic land, and somebody picked a basic over it,
Exactly.
or at least a cave. All right, pack 2. Here, I'll read the deck real quick. So we've got a Spyglass Siren, a Deadweight, a Song of Stupefaction, a Deathcap Marionette, an Echo of Dusk, the Throne, Acolyte of Ixalan, Screaming Phantom, 2 Frilled Caveworm, a Chupacabra Echo, and Bissell Gorestalker. Pack 2, pick 1. We open Veto, Fanatic of Ixalan. That's the 2 white-black mythic rare flyer. There's also a Bloodthorn, Flail, Explorer's Cache, Scampering Surveyor. This is the one that gets a land. Yeah, that's pretty good. There's a Ray of Ruin, a Waylaying Pirates, and an Echo of Dusk as well.
So here I actually think I would keep the pivot option open. I would take Veto over Echo of Dusk. You're not giving up anything too massive.
Mm-hmm.
You've got 4 blue cards that are all pretty mediocre, and you have Acolyte of Ixalan, you have Mephitic Draught. You could end up in black-white here. It is certainly something that could happen.
We just got to pass a decent white rare as well. It's Kutsil's Flanker. That's the 2 and a white 3/1 with flash, and when it ETBs, you can choose one of the 3 good things that it can do.
Yeah, I mean, our blue-black deck would take an inverted iceberg here, but I think I would just take Kutsil's Flanker. And again, you're not giving up a massive amount.
The only thing we're giving up that we actually care about is a Spyglass Siren and whatever.
Yeah, we are making our Throne of the Grim Captain equity worse because
way worse.
It's a lot harder to work, but it's also not like we have to play Throne of the Grim Captain. It's guided some of our picks, but all the cards we've taken are generally pretty good, and they fit in the black descend theme anyway. White black is not as good at descending, but it's not like it couldn't happen.
Kutsil's Flanker is a cat warrior, by the way, so it does not.
The biggest problem is that white doesn't add any types, really.
Wow, and now we got another rare. This is Amalia. This is the white-black 2/2 ward pay 3 life, and whenever you gain life, this thing explores.
All right, look, Acolyte of Ixalan, you've got that to trigger it for 0 mana.
Yeah.
Kutsil's Flanker can scry 2, gain 2. Veto can gain 2 and you sack a card. I think I would take Amalia here and try to wield this Mephitic Draught and go black-white sacrifice.
Wait, and I have one in the yard or in the sideboard.
Yeah, I know. I was counting on that one.
Okay, it's back in. All right, we'll take Amalia. Wow, now we got a Market Gnome.
Yeah, Market Gnome looks like it's pretty strong for this sort of thing.
Yeah, and I think that since we've pivoted pretty hard into white-black, probably sacrifice something sub-theme.
Though that we do it, there is a Spike Tail there.
It's that's why I brought that up.
Yeah.
So we could wheel it or something. I think that the question is like how in the heck do we get a Merfolk into this deck, right?
Yeah, I guess just take the Market Gnome and then we'll just be white-black sack probably.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. A little sad, but it does seem to be where the table wants us to go. Pack 2, pick 5. Yikes. Captain Storm, Cody or whatever, Scavenger. There's an Iron Paw Aspirant.
Iron Paw Aspirant is fine, I think.
Okay. You made me feel a little better about it, but your tone of voice, but I was kind of bummed.
Look,
we also just got like 3 bangers.
It's a card that you can sacrifice after putting the counter somewhere else.
True.
Which I do think is actually pretty good.
Okay. All right. So we'll take Iron Paw Aspirant.
Oh, and then there's a Deep Cavern Bat.
Wow.
There's also a Kinjali Dawnrunner, the 1/1 double strike explorer, but Deep Cavern Bat is a ridiculous card. You should just take it.
Totally. And it also triggers Amalia.
Oh, and it's good with Iron Paw Aspirant, the showstopper. You get to put a +1/+1 counter on it.
I never actually do that because I figure that this is going to be the first thing they kill anyway.
I mean, that is true.
All right, Deep Cavern Bat. That card is awesome. That's in the cube now, right?
Yeah, it's very good too.
Is it the best of?
I mean, it's certainly the best
of
those type of things. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, this is an interesting one. There's a greedy freebooter, but there's also a tithing blade.
Tithing Blade's perfect because we're looking to play multiple Acolyte of Aclazats in this deck if we can get them. And Tithing Blade Amalia, if you flip it, every turn she gets to explore.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Consuming Sepulchre. I want it. All right, Tithing Blade. This is pack 2, pick 8. And there's our buddy, the Skullcap Snail.
Yeah, you'll take it, though.
Mm-hmm. Cosmium Blast would be good in this deck, too. Right?
Yeah.
But the Snail's better, I guess, because it's a good sack outlet for value. Is that how you're seeing it?
I think the Snail is it's like a natural 2-for-1. It's a good sack outlet. Cosmium Blast is a card you would totally play in this deck. This deck's it's a mid-range deck. Totally. Also, the Snail works nicely with the Abyssal Gorestalker, which has gotten better over time.
Mm-hmm.
So
pack 2, pick 9 is our wheel pack, and we did get back a Ray of Ruin as well as Adaptive Gem Guard. I would just take the Ray here. What do you think? I know you're a fan of the Gem Guard.
I would probably take the Ray. This isn't really a Gem Guard deck. This is more of a controlling sacrifice deck.
Okay, cool. That's what I was thinking too. All right, we take Ray of Ruin, and we get a Deconstruction Hammer. Pack 2, pick 10. Pack 2, pick 11. There it is.
Yep, Mephitic Draught. Perfect. I mean, this is going really nicely. I like this deck a lot.
Do we need more Acolyte of Aclazats?
Yes, you would play up to 3 of those, maybe 4. Oh, take the Spike Tail. Take the Land Cycler.
I'm going to. I was just reading the Thousand Moons.
I was so worried you were going to take the Thousand Moons crack shot.
No, I didn't select it. I just hovered. All right, we got the Spike Tail. There's an Ancestral, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so pack 2, pick 14 is a Fungal Fortitude, and then we get a Plains last. So right now we've got Deconstruction Hammer, Market Gnome, Deadweight, Iron Paw Aspirant, Deathcat Marionette, Deep Cavern Bat, Echo of Dusk, 2 Mephitic Draft or whatever it is, 1 Skullcap Snail, Throne of the Grim Captain still hanging in there, Tithing Blade, Amalia, Kuziel's Flanker, an Acolyte of Aclazats, a Screaming Phantom, a Chupacabra Echo, Veto, Ray of Ruin, Abyssal Gorestalker, Rampaging Spiketail. So that's where we're at. And now we open, oh my God, Trumpeting Carnosaur. Oh, I love that card. What? Oh, there's an Acolyte. Is that what we need to take here?
Yeah, I think you just take the Acolyte. It's obviously disappointing to not take Trumpeting Carnosaur when you open it, but I think this is a fine kind of a compromise here.
By the way, Trumpeting Carnosaur, man.
It's quite the card.
That's a real card. All right, so we picked up Acolyte of Aclazats number 2. Now, pack 3, pick 2. There is Might of the Ancestors. Which one is this? Oh, yeah, Hoverstone Pilgrim. Let's see. Oh, there's a Quicksand Whirlpool. Probably just need that.
I was going to say, you could take your buddy, the Quicksand Whirlpool, I guess.
Yeah, I guess we just need it, right? I mean, considering that the removal in these colors is quite strong in this set, we don't have much of it.
Yeah.
We have like a Deadweight and a Tithing Blade. So yeah, and a Ray of Ruin, I guess. So yeah, we'll take a Quicksand Whirlpool. We'll up our mediocre removal count by another notch for us here. I'm happy to have it though. That's a nice little insurance policy. Oh my God, another Earthshaker Dreadbot. All right, for us, there is an Acrobatic Leap, a Fanatical Offering, and a Veto's Inquisitor.
I think a Fanatical Offering looks fine here. Like,
too.
It's you've got double Mephitic Draught. You might end up playing 3. Fanatical Offering with those is good. Veto's Inquisitor I found to be pretty medium. You would play like one of those, but you'd be fine wheeling it, you know?
Yeah, and it would be only because we didn't find another Acolyte.
Yeah.
All right, so pack 3, pick 4 coming up. Ooh, Clay-Fired Bricks. There's another life gainer. Yeah.
I love Clay-Fired Bricks. It's also just a great card even without that.
Super great card.
So yeah, very nice pickup. This pack's starting to pick up a little bit. It was lagging a bit.
Yeah. Man, I love Clay-Fired Bricks though. That card's a game plan, like itself.
Oh yeah.
Ooh. Pack 3, pick 5. There's a Stinging Cave Crawler. That's the Death Toucher. There's another Echo of Dusk. There's another Skullcap Snail.
I'm a pretty big Stinging Cave Crawler fan, even when you're not going super hard at self-mill, because a 1/3 Death Touch is just a pretty strong.
It is. It holds its own while you set up your Descend. And then the cool part is that it triggers when it attacks. So you can just like get your card and yeah, they might trade it off for something, but like it always trades. I'm a big fan too. We'll take the stinging cave crawler here. Ooh, nice. There's a Visage of Dread. There's also
I like
another
that too.
Echo, but I like this card a lot. Wow, pack 3, pick 6. Looks like nobody wants to draft black like on Arena today. Somehow.
Yeah, I mean this is wild.
All right.
Oh, then
pack 3, pick 7. Join the Dead.
Sure. So where this is going to end up is, I think it was definitely great to switch into white. We're not playing Throne of the Grim Captain anymore.
Yeah, it's out. And you know what I have to do? I have to rip up my Post-it note with how many creature types we had.
Yeah, the problem is Merfolk. There's just no Merfolk that we could realistically get to our deck here.
No Murphys. Do we want a second Iron Paw Aspirant, a first Gem Guard, or a hidden Necropolis? We're at 28 cards right now with no lands.
I would probably take the Iron Paw Aspirant. I think
it's between that and the Necropolis, right?
Yeah, I just don't think the lands are that good.
Okay, we'll take the Aspirant. And this is our wheel, and we wield the Rampaging Spiketail.
Yeah, all right. Well, we'll take that, I guess.
Wow, no respect for our boy. Okay, so here's the question. Pack 3, pick 10. Do we actually want to take this stupid Vito's Inquisitor?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think the Sunseeker is all that great, and we picked up another Vito's Inquisitor for free. We would play one of those, maybe two. I don't know.
All right, bunch of junk to finish off the draft here. We're at pack 3, pick 14. All right, well, with 2 cards left, we got another Echo of Dusk. I don't know what we'd played at this point, but we're going to find out right now.
If we got enough death caps, we might, but I think given the situation, I wouldn't be that excited to do so.
Okay, so right now we've got 50 cards, but again, it's a kind of a pile. We haven't really gone through it. Like the throne is still here. So let's start taking stuff out. What do you feel about Deconstruction Hammer?
Definitely could take that out.
Kill
That's
that one.
Not that important.
Right now we're sitting at 21 creatures, a little creature heavy here. Echo of Dusk. We're not really supporting Descend 4 particularly strongly. We're not against it. We have some sacrifice stuff, and there's some incidental milling and things that will be happening. So we could definitely hit it, but we're not like... We started off kind of turboing towards it, and we're not doing that anymore. What do you think about it?
Echo's going to be one of the last cards you want to play in the deck, I think.
Okay, because we got 8 cuts to make at this point, so I'll cut those. What about the Mephitic drafts or
the draught?
I don't know.
No, those are great. You're gonna play all those.
Okay, Skullcap Snail, Tithing Blade, Visage, and Amalia are all in. Flankers in.
You could probably cut a land because you have 2 land cyclers. You could probably cut Screaming Phantom.
Yeah, cut Screaming Phantom in a land. We want the Crawler, the Join. Cut one of these Inquisitors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the Echo, the Veto, the Ray, the Whirlpool. The Gorestalker can go, right?
No, I kind of like Gorestalker here. You have a lot of crappy creatures that just sit around.
Okay, leftover aspirants and market gnomes and stuff. Yeah, you're right. All right, so we'll just play every Gorestalker we drafted today.
I think that Ray of Ruin and Quicksand Whirlpool, one of those 2 can probably go, if I had to guess.
I think we'll kill the Ray then, I guess. Just because the Whirlpool tends to match up well with the format. I think like you're getting hit by flyers early and stuff. Do we want both Rampaging Spiketails?
You could probably play 16 in 1 Spiketail.
That's what I was
wouldn't mind that too much. And then you need one more cut.
One more cut.
I think
Aspirant or...
At that point, it's probably the Aspirant is the last cut.
Just one of them. Okay. Mm-hmm. So here's our deck. Deck number 2. In the 1-drop slot, we've got Market Gnome and Deadweight. In 2 drops, we've got Clay Fired Bricks, Iron Paw Aspirant, Deathcap Marionette, Deep Cavern Bat, Fanatical Offering, 2 Mephitic Draft, Skullcap Snail, Tithing Blade, Visage of Dread, and Amalia. Dang, we have some bangers in the 2-drop slot. 3 is Kutziel's Flanker, double Acolyte of Oklazats, which is going to be important. The Stinging Cave Crawler, Join the Dead, and the Quicksand Whirlpool I have at the 3, but obviously it slots in at 6 as well. 4's probably our weakest card, Vito's Inquisitor, Chupacabra Echo, Vito Fanatic of Oklazats, and then we have 2 6s, though one of them's a Rampaging Spiketail, which is, Moonlight's as a 2. And then we've got the card of the day, Abyssal Gorestalker, with currently 8 plains and 8 swamps.
Yeah, I like it.
Should we? I guess that does actually work because we have the spike tail. Okay. Wow. This deck looks cool. I haven't had a black-white sacrifice deck with this power level. We just got, multiple rares that all fit into the theme here.
Yeah, I mean, we've got Veto, we've got Amalia, we have a bunch of good uncommons. Kutziel's Flanker is a solid card. Like this just looks like a great deck.
Yeah, this deck's sweet. All right, man, we really did it. We taught people how to draft awesome decks today, right? That's
yeah, both these decks were really, really fantastic.
They were. Okay, well, I'll update next week and let you know how the decks actually performed. And of course, if you're watching or if you're listening via podcast audio only, you can see the decks and the picks on the YouTube version of the show. Just in case you feel like, I kind of want to see what that deck looked like at the end. You can check that out there on YouTube. Luis, any last thoughts before we call it a show for the day?
No, I think that if you are not enjoying the format, you're not enjoying the format, and that's totally fine. I would never argue with you about that. I have liked this format. I know you have too. And it's just that I think that the games that are good are pretty good. I think that there are some amount of non-games, but I do think this is a good format. Maybe I would encourage you to give it another shot if you have kind of faded out of it.
Yeah, I would call this format solid. So there you go. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of LR. Thanks so much for joining us. As always, we want to say thank you once again to our patrons for supporting us and to Ultimate Guard for their sponsorship of the show. If you want to find us on social media, I'm Marshall_LR and Luis is LSV. You can find everything related to the show over at lrcast.com, including every episode of the show ever. As well as links on the front page to all of our stuff, social media stuff, as well as like Luis's stream, Luis's YouTube channel. If you want to check out the Vintage Cube offerings that he's got going over there, I can't recommend them highly enough. It's amazing stuff. And he puts up a video every day. Like you wake up at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Boom. There's a new cube draft, and you get to follow along with Luis as he drafts against really great players, by the way. They're doing they're kind of, what do you call them? We used to call them money drafts, but I guess you're probably not supposed to now.
Just team drafts.
Team drafts.
Just 3-on-3 or 4-on-4s.
Yeah. But it's not with randoms. It's with people on that draft server. And there's some really good players. I mean, Nathan Stoyer was in there the other day, right? There's some of your favorite streamers. Newmont pops in every once in a while. I saw Jan was on there the other day. DZY. I mean, that's
DZY, one of the OG Magic streamers.
Yeah, way back. So that's pretty cool. And then you've got Pro Tour top 8 competitors, even champions in there. Ely Cassis is in there all the time. My boy Jesse is in there. Slacks. I mean, just these are like top tier players, right? The type of players that do well at Pro Tours regularly, and even sometimes win them, are in there. And Luis is playing freaking Vintage Cube against them. It's awesome. So anyway, I can't recommend that highly enough. You should definitely check it out. But yeah, that's all at lrcast.com. That's going to do it for this episode of the show. We'll see you next week.
I want to give a shout out that next week Cons Draft is coming in, I think 5 days. December 12th, I believe, is when goes online on Arena, and there's going to be an Arena Open that is the same format. So if you haven't tried out Cons Draft, it is one of the finest formats.
Are you talking about Cons of Tarkir?
Cons of Tarkir, indeed.
My God.
It is an all-timer, and one of the best formats they could have on Arena as well, because Arena doesn't always have access to like the old stuff. So I would highly recommend doing it. And one of the cool things about this format that you might not know is it's got morph, right? So you can pay there's a bunch of creatures you can play for 3 mana face down, and then flip them by paying mana to turn them face up. If you are worried about their creature flipping into something bigger, you have to remember that no creature turns into something that doesn't die to a 2/2 until they hit 5 mana. And that's a huge difference between now and like the Onslaught, the original format where morph was. It had that, and that was not what most people call a good part of the format.
Yeah, because you were forced into like a straight up guessing game in some situations, right?
Yeah, there was the classic, and this is, if you haven't heard about this, this is a classic.
Yeah.
It was the Battering Craghole Goblin Arsonist lock. So picture this. Your opponent plays a face-down creature on turn 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
You play your face-down creature on turn 3. They attack with theirs. They're playing red. So if you don't block, and they flip up Skirk Arsonist, it's a 2/1 that when it deals damage to the opponent, deals that much damage to one of their creatures. So you just lose your creature for free.
So they just snipe your morph.
Sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen. If you do block, though, you end up in a spot where if they flip Battering Craghorn, it's a 3/1 first strike, and guess what just happened? You just lost your creature for free. So you end up in a spot where it's just damned if you do, damned if you don't. And there's no real way to know. Like in game 3, if you've seen them play 2 of one of them and none of the other, that'll inform it. Like, oh, you've played 2 Skirk Arsonists, I'm going to block. Or you played 2 Craghorns, I won't block. It's game 1. You haven't seen a single card out of their deck besides 2 mountains and like a forest. And you're just like, all right, I guess I just have to make a 50-50 and I'll lose my creature for no value if I choose wrong. That was not a fun part of the format. And the designers, I think, correctly decided this is not the way to make for a good limited format. So I think that the cons change of making it so you can't flip into something big unless you've got 5 mana is really good, because that means on turn 3 or 4 when they attack you, I guess it'd be turn 4 mostly, you can block with confidence and not really worry about it.